Good morning and welcome again to Summit. It's good to be with you again on the program. And today we're going to be talking a lot about the Supreme Court judgment that cemented President Tinubu's victory last week. Good morning, I'm Jumoke. Michael Spanji, good morning.
Jumoke, it's good to be here. We're at our duty post and we're giving people latest information. Issues that concern us in the polity, and I know that they're going to benefit so much from this edition. You're welcome.
All right, so to discuss this issue and look at the pros and the cons and how it affects us as a people, we have an apt person to do this, and because he's a legal practitioner, he's also a public affairs analyst, Barrister Jide Ologun. Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have
There's
you.
a new one, it's a developmental. Please, can you assist me?
Development advocate.
A development advocate.
And I also forgot to say doctor. Barrister doctor.
Barrister doctor, yes.
Good to have you, sir.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you. All right.
So the Supreme Court judgment that actually confirmed, or let's say affirmed, the candidacy or the election of the current president, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, actually took place last week, and so much reactions have actually trailed that judgment. Without wasting much of the time, the opposition, that's the PDP and the Labour Party, are saying that rather than the Supreme Court focusing on the substance of the cases, that they left that and concentrated on technicalities. That those technicalities were they were not courageous enough, and they kind of compromised their integrity by giving the victory to President Tinubu. What's your opinion?
Let me start by saying that when we talk about technicality, you cannot divorce technicality from law substance. When you come to court, there are rules, there are guidelines, there are things that are expected from you as the one who has come to argue the case, and you must comply with those technicalities. And since 1963, Supreme Court became the highest court in the land. And in this particular case, it did not start in the Supreme Court. It started at the tribunal level, which for the presidential election is the appellate level of our jurisprudence. So what the Supreme Court emphasized is that fine, you have some issues that could have helped you in your case, but you could have presented it at the tribunal level. You see, so they even say that he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. The court is not the one that will do your case for you. And if you look at section 131 of the Evidence Act of Nigeria, it stipulates clearly that if you are coming to the court for courts to grant you some reliefs, and you are adducing to some facts and evidences, you are the one to prove these things. And it's not just about having exhibits or having evidence. How you put them together is also very important, and that is that aspect of the technicality. At the tribunal level, we had the justices expressing themselves. A decision that was read for about 13 hours. Sometimes you come late to present what you want to present. Are you saying the court should change their rules? And borrowing the word of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Clark, who spoke, that a greater due diligence could have been given to that case. And of course, I have said it's not only Labour Party or PDP that was seeking justice before the Supreme Court or the tribunal. The respondent also is seeking justice. And so you won't say that if you don't drive your case very well, then decision should be donated to you. No. And let me underscore this. At the tribunal level, for those who monitored, there were almost or around 80 senior advocates of Nigeria, apart from the other lawyers that were present there. So one would have expected that a double-barrel approach should have been given to the matter, and like a legal luminary mentioned, that you don't shoot one and keep one. This is a very important case to your clients. And again, let me emphasize, one of the toughest cases to handle is election case. You know how many polling units we have in the country, so how do you bring your witnesses from all these polling units? And an emphasis was laid on something. The issue of IREV, the primary material to be relied upon are the sheets, the final results from the polling units. And you have your polling agents there who are entitled to the copies. It is when you don't have that you now begin to approach IREV. And INEC made available all the materials that the parties needed. So I will not join those who try to isolate technicality from the justice system. It's like you buy a brand new car and you are saying you are not interested in the instruction of the fact that if it's a diesel engine, you don't pour petrol into it, or that at a particular point in time you must service it, or you know what I mean, or that in the night the headlamps are technical, they are not substantive to drive you from one point to the other. Then you are likely to end up with a terrible accident. So please, let's lay this to rest. Technicalities are part of the judicial process. So if you are seeking justice, you must be technically sound also. By the way, a party will win the case. If all parties are all going to win, there's no point coming to the judiciary. So those are my
Alright, so
submissions.
let's look at this issue of court of public opinion. In this election, we discovered that it's increased. There's a lot of platforms that will dissect, and sometimes they even give judgments before the courts will even do theirs. In your opinion, why is this so?
We are in a global pocket, not even village anymore. And the online engagement is borderless. It's not subject to strict control. And of course, there are many experts there. But it does not make any difference. Let me use the case of Misoma, who claims to have scored highest in JAMB. Online, she won the case. People celebrating her and everything. But JAMB came out, the real umpire, to say no, this is the authentic position. So if the online platform is the judicial system, so be it. But interestingly, it is not. And I classified it as being sensational. I won't follow it. If that were to be the case, even Atiku himself should have been embattled with the fact that he used the name Siddiq to write his secondary school exam, and he started saying he swore to an affidavit. Online, he can be paralyzed for that. But you still come to court and present all these things. And I must at this point commend all the stakeholders that decided to subject the electioneering processes to judicial interpretation, and to also say at this point in time that it is not the judiciary that determines the winner of an election. It is INEC. It is when some parties are not interested that they approach the judiciary. After all, in 2015, the former president of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, did not bother himself about going to court. He conceded and moved on. So those are the public opinion may give you the hype. And in respect of this case also, an elder statesman alluded to the fact that the PDP and Labour Party did more in the public opinion court than they should have done in court. The people online are not the ones to determine that case. You see, and you also saw even during the elections how results were being permutated and things like that. But we don't have all the time to discuss that, because In public relations, we have a coinage for that. But here we are, like I started with, since 1963, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. And talking about justice and technicalities, recall the case of Oyetola and Adeleke in Osun State. At the tribunal level, the victory of Adeleke was overturned, and he proceeded to the appellate level all the way to the Supreme Court, where his victory was reinstated. It's a combination of technicality and every quality to prove your case.
I still want to go back to the issue of the substance of the case. Now, the Constitution stipulates that 24 out of the 36 states, that the winner of a presidential election must have scored minimum of 25% in 24 states of the Federation. Now, are you of the opinion, or do you believe that the issue of FCT, scoring 25% in FCT by any winner of presidential election, has been properly trashed out with this judgment?
I hope it has, and I hope some lawyers won't come back to argue that Abuja is superior. And this is where I warn litigants also. Lawyers do not recognize any case as bad, because lawyers don't lose cases, clients do.
Lawyers don't
lose cases. It's not their case. It's client's case. So whether a lawyer loses or not, you pay the lawyer. And I'm saying this respectfully, because the issue of Abuja has been decided upon earlier. And it's very clear. Abuja does not have a special status overriding the status of other states.
But why then doesn't it have governors like other states?
I leave that with the National Assembly, and I hope they will consider it. In fact, the people of the Federal Capital Territory are beginning to ask for that.
Yes.
It's a seat of power. It's just now the interpretation of the word and let's throw this back to even substance that we are talking about. What the Supreme Court justices are saying is that you don't give a statute a narrow interpretation. There are 36 states and Abuja. So if we are now saying that Abuja is the only relevant electoral jurisdiction that will deliver victory, then let's just go there and vote and leave the other states out of the stress. So these are issues, and the essence of having the judiciary is to interpret the laws. And let me say this: at the tribunal level, there were 5 justices. At the Supreme Court level, 7 justices. So put them together, we have 12. So are we now saying they do not understand the law?
Permit me to also ask, are you also saying that the cases brought before the court, or the issues raised by the court, were not serious enough to have actually got a kind of split judgment? I mean, there was the unanimity over the judgment. Are you saying that the cases are so bad that not even 1 or 2 of the justices, reason with some of the substance of the cases brought?
Please, this is a very sensitive matter, but please allow me to stay on my lane, that no court will prove your case for you. And it's clear. If you bring an object to court that is black, and you swear before the court that it is white, the court will go on the basis of what you have presented. And if you cannot prove it, who proves it for you? Fine. There is controversy over a certificate. What the law says is that the issue of forgery is a criminal matter. It should be proved beyond all reasonable doubt. That law has not changed, which we know. In fact, you could have brought it in. In fact, the Supreme Court asked a question that when these candidates that you are claiming should not have won the election,
his credentials were published, I think June 2022. Between then and now, what have you done? And let's also look at some areas on technicality. The APC suddenly came up with a surprise that Obi was not even technically a member or statutorily a member of Labour Party at the time he was contesting. And the court came to a conclusion that it's not your business, because what the law says that it is a member of the party that can complain on that. Will you not commend judiciary for that? Or are you now going to draft a fresh law on it? So the National Assembly, according to Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, is to make laws for the peace, orderliness and good governance of Nigeria. So let them go and bring all these decisions together, study them, and look at where there are lacunas. We call it lacunas in law. Then, for instance, no law as we speak today, and I'm glad Alhaji Atiku Abubakar alluded to that, mandates INEC to transmit results in real time. So if you have that discretion, then it's optional. So let's be specific about our laws. And interestingly, it's these politicians also that go to the National Assembly. And by the grace of God, this particular National Assembly is a bouquet of the prominent parties. Labour Party is there, PDP is there. So let them all sit together, look at our laws and how these litigations have been able to strengthen the awareness concerning our electoral laws. Then, if you need to amend, we are there for that purpose.
But if you just talked about INEC now, are you saying that after all the money spent, after the Electoral Act, after all that the National Assembly agreed to that INEC should operate, are you saying that their performance during this election is in line? Are they what they have done?
Did they live up to expectation?
Did they live up to expectation?
In my personal opinion, no. But legally speaking, and that is why law is different, they have discretion.
After all the promises made,
it's not just about promises.
Election,
let me bring in
assurances.
It's not about assurances. Go and look at the law.
Wow.
Go and look at the laws. The electoral laws, the constitution, they have discretion and they have exercised it. You see, and let me speak to the macro community that we have. We have a society where we don't even have infrastructural support. Look at when we did the Naira redesigning and swap. To carry out cashless transaction was, up till now, do we have reliable internet services and things like that? The glitches we referred to. And that is why you notice that when INEC did a test run of this their technology in the election of Edo, everybody applauded them. But that was a staggered election. So we need to upscale. If we are going to adopt a system, we must be able to support the success of that system. But I am saying that legally speaking, as we discussed this morning, nothing mandates INEC compulsorily on this technology we are talking about. So let the laws be amended.
Let the laws be amended along that line.
If they so desire, there are politicians that are there.
Yeah, along that line. You also know that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has also addressed the press again, even after that judgment, and is looking at the future. He's saying that in the future, that the Constitution must be revisited, such that the courts will not hide under technicalities any longer. He suggested several other things. He also suggested that the Constitution should be amended such that it will be mandatory for INEC to transmit results electronically, and several others. So would you react to that too?
Let me advise you.
Is it feasible before 2027 that this amendment would have taken place?
It's feasible before 2024, where the political will is there. But please let me just say this, and with sincerity of expression, no constitutional amendment can throw away technicality. So if a lawyer is going to court on your behalf, please let the lawyer be sound technically. So I don't want to be sentimental or sensational. You cannot throw away technicality. Or maybe go and check the meaning of technicality. If this is just like your phone, it has technical requirements. Okay, so you just go and buy a phone and you don't charge it again. So when the battery is dead, you start shouting. So let me clearly say this: no constitutional amendment can rule out technicalities. For example, when you are expected to bring a witness to court and you don't bring the witness, is that not technicality? You are now saying that the court refused to listen to you. Is it the court now that will now hire thugs to go and help you bring your witness? And with all due respect, I think more should have been done by the lawyers who went representing. I mean, that's my personal opinion. So if you are hiring any lawyer to go and represent you, make sure you get value for your money. And on the other issues that
that the winner must score above 50% of the total number of
those are recommendations.
All right, so we look at this election, and I'm trying to look at the tech aspect of this last election, where we were promised that technology would be deployed and all that, but we now started hearing about glitches. So going forward, do you think we are ready for technology like other climes, when even people in diaspora can vote? We don't need to go queue to vote anymore. We can vote in the comfort of our home or in your beautiful office like this. You can decide to stay here and vote. Are we ripe for that kind of system?
It's up to our leaders, and it's up to the National Assembly. I keep emphasizing that in the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, we have been conducting e-voting for years. Rancor-free. Even if you come to the AGM and you have not been able to cast your vote, you just go to the back of the hall. The computers are there. You vote, and seamless. You get the result. But with the cabals allow it, and so, you know why I say I don't have sympathy for some politicians? I'm saying it now. With all these things we are arguing, are they going to make laws that we attend to these gaps? We cannot go there and be making laws for them. They are there for that purpose. There was a promise towards 2015 election that the burden of proof in a criminal case will be shifted to the defendant. Have they implemented it? So if we continue with promises that cannot be fulfilled, we continue going around the circle. So what will happen is that some politicians will see that if it's more beneficial for them for it not to be mandatory for technology to be deployed, they will be on the side of and pretend as if nothing is happening. You see? But if they realize, but the best thing is that move with the world. There was an election in Germany now. People didn't slap themselves up and down and things like that. You know?
All right. Now there's an election in 2 weeks' time. The by-election in Kogi.
And they have promised. They have promised to deploy. Again. But can you hold them down on that promise? There is what you call commitments. You see, promises, and that's why I advise me when I'm making promises. Generally, you have to be careful about your language. If you are not so certain, for instance, if I'm recommending someone to come and work for you, and I must recommend, I put a clause there that you may consider him for employment. That may has exonerated me.
At your own risk.
Yes, I've kept the door open to jump out when police now start coming that he has embezzled. They are looking for him. I will point you to that. I said may. I didn't say you must or shall.
investigating properly before you have to find job. Now, moving forward, now still about being futuristic about our elections and our governance. We have put jurisprudence, judicial process behind us now. We are now facing governance. Now, people have suggested that the current administration could be magnanimous in victory by extending olive hand and then creating government of national unity, whereby some of these protagonists of these litigations can also be co-opted in government for the betterment of this country. Now, in his response, the president said that would depend on the reactions and the actions and reactions of those litigants. Now, we saw the press conference yesterday that Atiku planted and all that. What do you think in all of this? Do you think government of national unity is feasible and possible, is realistic?
The government of national unity is feasible, is possible. Okay, we have it in Nigeria.
Have we had it before?
We are beginning to move in that direction with this new case of Wike. It's a sensitive one because there are stakeholders within the party who are interested in also being part of the process. So for you to now say, okay, because some people went to court, let's bring them in. So it's going to. What I can say is that beyond national government of national unity, the mandate in the constitution has not changed. Section 14 subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. So if it is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar that has the secret to secure Nigeria, President Tinubu should consult. They are friends. They were all in the same party before the man moved out. Yeah. They may be in the same party tomorrow. When the son of former President Muhammadu Buhari was doing his wedding, I think Atiku was the Babako, the father of the groom. And so they know themselves.
Of course, it's one class. Exactly. It's a political class.
Exactly. And some have said in Lagos that they will contribute if they are invited. So whoever will help the president succeed, he should be free to invite them. But invitation does not mean they will come. And if they don't come, Nigeria has brilliant brains. But the elders have a saying, if there is a will, there is a way. There should be a will, firstly, to make Nigeria a better place. The moment that is established, people who will support you, even the citizens, professional bodies, that we assist. We are talking about all this issue of NLC and human resources. You see, IPM is there. We are talking about branding the nation. The NIPR is there. You can call on chartered accountants. There are different professional bodies in Nigeria that can advise the government, perhaps pro bono, without even you having to pay them. But are you ready to implement these recommendations? These are the issues. So if the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is prepared to reposition Nigeria on a better platform, the support is there. Not even locally, internationally. The Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations that will be evaluated by year 2030, Agenda 2030, has created room for partnership. The Chancellor of Germany visited our president. They are supporting us with money on security. They have succeeded in energy, electricity. They can help us. So we have support across the world. Our president was in Onga in New York recently. So there is partnership. China is a friend of Nigeria. What China has done in their nation, if we allow them, they will help us also here. So it's all basically about the preparedness to make Nigeria a better place.
Thank you so much.
So much loaded.
That's a good
this
place.
Loaded, yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
For your contributions.
Thank you.
Contributions are usually balanced. Thank you for that.
We thank God. God bless Nigeria.
All right. So we'll be moving into another segment of the program. showcasing developmental strides of the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu government administration in Lagos State. Now we're going to be watching how far they've gone with the Lagos Blue Line Rail, and they still have some more coming up, but let's just watch and see how far they've gone on this development, infrastructural development in Lagos State. I am Jumoke Michael. See you again. Bye-bye.
My name is Banji Busari. It's been an exciting, as usual, exciting edition. Yeah, still on the Lagos State government. I just pray that other states of the Federation also emulate what Lagos State is doing infrastructurally. If you come here, you see that it's our governor.